All right, next up for you guys, we got Bert Kreischer is the machine, the animated version of it. I'm excited to see what this is all about. This is a pretty famous one, according to Sir Jad Juice over here.
Yeah, I think the machine is pretty much his most famous bit. I think he did it in a special. I think he's done it a few times on a podcast and this and that.
Right.
But I don't know. Anyways, I come from that kind of like part of the world. I'm not gonna specify where. For you to guess, maybe there was people guessing I'm Algerian and shit, but I ain't. Anyways, but I find it funny because I can relate to that stuff on so many levels. But let's check out this crazy Russian story called "The Machine" with Bert Kreischer. 1, 2, 3.
So listen, man, last time you were here, there's a fucking story about the Russian mob. We tease these bitches. we let these people right now on Twitter, they have been going crazy all day. Do not let Bert Kreischer get out of there without the Russian mob story, man. Okay. So tell us what the fuck happened.
All right. This is in 1993, probably, I think, is when I went to Russia. I was taking Russian classes at Florida State. I thought they were Spanish classes. Because I thought they were Spanish classes because it was a noon class and I signed up and then I was like, fucking sweet, Spanish at noon? I could phone that in. And then I get there and they start writing in a new language, a new alphabet, and I'm like, all right, this clearly isn't Spanish. So then I said I'm going to leave and the teacher's like, listen, don't leave because if you leave, we can't have a class and I can't get my master's degree. But if you stick around, I'll talk to you after the class. I get done the end of the class. She's like, listen, don't... if you don't leave and just show up at class, I'll give you a C. I was like, done. So I took Russian. Nice. I took Russian 1, 2, and 3 because these kids needed another guy in their class to take these classes. So then finally I take Russian 4 and we go to Russia. But this is Russia like when the mob ran Russia. Like, are you guys aware of that?
No.
Okay, in like the late 90s, mid 90s, the mob ran everything that had to do with Russia. So when going over to Russia, you had to literally pay off the mob in order to go and study abroad. So we paid off the mob and they gave us in return 2 banditos, 2 young mobsters who would go everywhere with us. They lived in our hotel, they stayed with us, they went on tours with us, they did everything with us. Their names were Igor and Sasha. And when we got there, our teacher was like, listen, this is Igor and Sasha. They will be ghosting us. With my teacher who was there with me, was like, they're in the fucking mob.
Igor and Sasha. It's like a gay guy named Bruce.
And they were oh, it gets worse. So they're like, listen, whatever you do to our class, do not talk to them, do not interact with them.
Oh my God.
Do not engage them. They are only here to shadow us. So in my head, I'm like, fucking get to know these guys, right? Like, get a bottle of vodka, 6-pack of Baltica, knock on their door. Now, mind you, I speak no Russian at the time. No Russian, because I'd never studied in any of the classes. So, first night there, I knock on Igor and Sasha's room, and they're having a party in there. Like, fucking all their friends are in their room. They lived right next to me, and Kendra, my teacher, lived across the hall from Igor. So I knock on their door. Igor opens the door, and he looks like a fucking thug. He's got like a wife beater on, a cigarette, a beer, and he just looks at me in Russian and just goes, "Что?" And now, the second he says that, I start panicking. All the phrases I had in my head that I was trying to say all disappear, and all I say to Igor in Russian is, "I am the machine."
Why would you say that?
What is that? How do you say that?
Ya machinu. And so, but I just said, "Ya machinu," and he went, "Huh? Что?" And now I don't know what I've said. I'm like, what did I just say? I'll fuck you up? Like, and I go, "I am the machine." And he goes, "Say it again." I said, "I'm the machine." And then he starts laughing and he brings me into the room. He's like, "Hold on, say it again." And so I say it to the room. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm like, "I'm the machine." And they're like, "You're the machine." I'm like, "I'm the machine." I said that all fucking night with these guys. That's the only communication we had is I said, "I'm the machine." And Igor and Sasha and I became best friends, right? We did everything together. If we went on a field trip, they would tell me, "Machine, you don't need to go on the field trips. Come drink with us." Machine. So now, cut to one day, we have to take a train to Moscow. Now, a different mob ran the train to Moscow, and a different mob ran Moscow. And Igor and Sasha were not allowed to cross boundaries. And they told me, they said, "Listen, we're not going to go with you, but we've taken care of you. We've talked to the mobsters on the train and in Moscow." Because we had to pay them too. They had to follow our
they
class.
weren't allowed to come with you.
They weren't allowed to come with us
because it's a different mob.
And we're paying a different mob now to protect us on the train.
Wow.
We're paying a different mob to protect us in Moscow.
Holy shit!
So they said, "We've taken care of it. Don't worry about it." So they take me to the train, and They introduced me to our two new gangsters, Igor and Igor. And
What? Double Igors.
I swear to you.
3 Igors out of 4 dudes.
Igor and Igor. There's not a lot of names in Russia. It's Alex, Igor, or Sasha.
What about Fyodor?
So Igor and my Igor says to these Igors, this is the machine. If you give them alcohol, you'll have a great time. So Igor and Igor are like through the roof. They're like, awesome. Don't worry. We've taken care of you. We're sitting in first class. You're not sitting with your class. You're sitting in first class to Moscow. And I'm like, holy shit, this is what I'm talking about. And I bring another guy, John Bolshoi, Big John. I bring him with me to go sit in first class. And sure enough, man, we're in fucking first class. Just me, these two Igors, John, the conductor. I shit you not. The conductor, before the train takes off, comes into the room. I swear to you, rips off the band on his thing, says, this is a present for the machine. It would be an honor to do a shot with you. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking right. So I do a shot with the conductor, and we pound this vodka within like fucking 30, 45 minutes. We're done all the vodka in the room.
Whoa.
We're drinking hard. And my class is all on coach, and I'm sitting in first class. And Igor are like, let's go get more vodka. And I'm like, done. These guys run the fucking train. So we get up, we walk into the bar cart, and Big Igor says, machine, grab a bottle of, grab some bread, Kleb. And I'm like, that's bread. I'm understanding Russian. He's like, grab some siev, that's cheese. I'm like, I'm learning Russian. I'm looking at John who's standing behind me. He's like, yeah. He's like, grab vodka. I go, I know that one. And he's like, grab all the money. Grab all the rubles. And I go, what? I look around and we're robbing the bar cart.
What?
The bartender's standing like this. Everyone's standing against the wall. And I'm sitting behind the bar with a handful of rubles, a bottle of vodka, and a thing of bread going, holy fuck. John looks at me and he's like, just take it. Let's go. Take all the fucking cash out of the bar cart.
And what is the bartender doing?
Not making eye contact. And they're passing
Everyone just lets it happen.
It's the mob. They ran everything in Russia. Everything.
Wow.
And so we get done and we go back to our room and it's a totally different energy. Very sketchy, you know? And
Are you freaked out now?
I'm freaked out because I'm like, fuck, I just robbed the car. Like, no one else saw anyone rob the bar car except for me. And my teacher, Val, who's at the time was our chaperone, didn't speak any Russian. She comes to our first class cart, opens the door and says, I need to talk to you right now. And I was like, listen. And she goes, I told you that you're in big trouble. Your classmates have told me what happened. Big Igor takes a sip of vodka, spits in her eyes and goes, no one talks to the machine like that. I'm like,
whoa, he spit vodka in her eyes?
And fucking it is. And then shuts the door and then looks at me and he says, don't worry, I got you. When it gets dark, we're going to have a lot of fun. And he pulls out a thing of keys. He's got keys to the whole fucking train. He's like, we're going to rob everyone when it gets dark. Now I'm like, fuck, what did I get myself into? God. Like, this is bad fucking news. So we gets dark, and sure enough, then we start robbing the train. Go through my class first, and we fucking open the door. Little Igor would crawl in, pull the bags out. John and I would go through them and try not to steal like anything important. And Big Igor would stand guard, and if anyone woke up, he'd take a sip of vodka and spit it in their face.
What?
And it was, I mean, it's sketchy. Now it's sketchy. It's not even fun.
Are they Are these guys armed?
Fucking, no. They're loaded, though. They're hammered, pissed drunk. We robbed my whole class, and then they end up taking off and going into the car, and me and John are sitting in the first class car just thinking, we're fucked, man. We're fucked. We robbed the train. We've robbed the bar cart. And they come back, and they're just fucking angry drunk, like pissed angry drunk. We pull into Moscow, and my teacher, Val, comes to the door, opens it, and said, I'm just letting you know we've called the police. So I was like, fuck. So Igor and Igor are like, fuck it, don't worry, fuck the police. This is Russia. Who the fuck does she think she is? This isn't America. This is Russia. We run everything. I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna fucking go to the gulag. Sure enough, man, the cops are sitting on the middle, like the middle, you know, where people get off the train, that little receiving area. My class is sitting there. My whole class are in the pajamas. They're crying. Their bags have been gone through. They're fucking giving statements to the cops, and the cops are writing them down. And I'm sitting with Igor and John in the fucking cart, and they're just still drinking and smoking. And they're like, fuck this. We'll take care of this right now. They walk outside, out to the cops, and start yelling at the cops. And I'm like, motherfucker, this is not how I would have taken care of this. Just, I don't even know what they're saying, but they're just shouting, and the cops are shouting back. And then finally Big Igor just starts pointing at me. And I'm like, oh, he's pinning this whole fucking thing on me? Like, I'm going down for the whole thing? And then the cop starts pointing at me and telling me, Zidyes, paidyom, or whatever he's saying. Come here, right now. So I fucking walk out, and it's that moment where you find the hash on your body. You know, they find it, and you're going to jail forever. That's that moment, that walk, where your asshole gets cold, and you're like, this is it.
Midnight Express.
Fucking, that's the moment. And I walk all the way across this little fucking trail to get to him. I get right up to the cop, and the cop looks at me, and he goes, I understand you're the machine, I was like, yeah. And he goes, tonight you party with us. I was like,
What?
all right. So then we went out and partied with these cops.
So the cops did nothing.
Fucking nothing. They were so excited to meet the machine.
Kidding me,
They were so excited to meet the machine, bro.
dude.
That's some funny
I can
ass
see that.
shit.
Yeah, I can see that being possible. That it actually did happen. Yeah.
That's so funny. And the thing is, like, that makes it so wild to us here in North America is to understand that level of corruption.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
That level of,
Yeah.
like, autonomy where you're able to just, like, cuss and say whatever you want to any.
I would call it more anarchy than
Right?
autonomy, but yeah, for sure, man. It was those years right after communism fell, like 89 with the fall of the Berlin Wall and stuff, when the Soviet bloc like opened up and became democratic, which I'm actually from Bulgaria anyways. So there was what happened in Bulgaria too, man. It was just, like all crime and stuff. It was all like bribes, and it was the mob was running everything in Bulgaria as well. So
As you go through that transition period of who has the power, right?
yeah, absolutely. Because there was literally, it was like pretty much what happened in Russia, like the old KGB generals and all those like higher ranked people from the KGB. They were actually like low key given all the oil, land, and a bunch of land and all this and that. It's kind of what happened in Bulgaria as well, pretty much. But that's I mean, it's not
That's a
shocking.
wild story. I think coming from a more sheltered perspective, like from mine, I think I've actually seen this once before.
Okay.
But I didn't remember how it went, so I was just as locked in. That is a crazy life story to share. Like, that is some crazy stuff that went down. Seriously.
I love it because it's from his perspective as the Northern American. You know, a story like this might have not like shocked a Russian person. You know, they would have thought that was just like everyday life and stuff. But for someone from North America, it's it's like, oh shit.
That's some crazy stuff, man. Honestly, like, to get in that position and be that scared. When he says your asshole gets cold. I'm like,
yeah.
I've been close to there because I've done
Yeah.
some stupid shit in my time, and
Yeah.
when you think you're answering the bell and then it just turns out it's not that, you're like, whew.
Sure. Like I almost got caught with weed like twice in one night in Bulgaria, you know? Like in Bulgaria at the time, even now I think the law against weed is pretty strict. Like at the very least they would have given me a very hefty, well, I wouldn't say a fine, but most likely a bribe that I would have had to pay to the police officers to let me go or whatever. Or it would have been on my record. I would have slept in the, whatever, 1 or 2 nights, and then they would have put it on my record forever and ever, right? I wouldn't probably even be able to come to Canada if that was...
Wow, yeah.
Because I wouldn't have gotten the permanent residence and all that shit. But anyways, that's not neither here nor there. But I know that feeling because I had a bag of weed, and twice in the same night, once in a car of my buddy, and I stuffed it in between the seats. And then I got searched, and they didn't find it. And then same night, a few hours later, literally I got ambushed by a car. I was walking, and I had to throw it in the bushes. The one guy was like, "Oh, what did you drop?" The other guy went in with the flashlight and checked. He couldn't find it. Then once they let me off, they were like, "Oh, what are you stealing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" No, they were like, "Why are you stealing radios?" I'm like, "I'm not stealing anything." They're like,
Tell me why you stealing radios.
"Yeah." I'm like, "I'm not stealing radios." They're like, "What you stealing then?" You know? I'm like, God.
Oh my God.
Anyways, they search me. They look up my info again at the police station twice in the same night, and they let me go. And I kind of like knew where I threw it. I went back to the bush. I just grabbed it and I sprinted home because I knew they might like do
Double
a circle and like just find me
Right.
on the other spot. And I was like, wow, how's that happen? And I was like literally at home after that looking from the balcony. Just like my heart was pounding. I was like, dude. And I must have been like 19 or 18 at the
Yeah,
time.
that's
you
one
know?
of those that'll really get the heart pound.
Yeah.
For sure.
What a day it was.
Crazy.
But yeah, what a story it was, Bert Kreischer. And what a fucking place it is, Eastern Europe and Russia.
Oh, man. Well, we'll catch you guys on the next video. Like, man, that was a crazy story. I'm still
Yeah.
digesting. I hope you guys sound off in the comment section. Feel free. And we'll check you guys on the next one.
Peace out, yo.
Peace.